For those of you that have been watching, every week I do something called a Talk Shop Tuesday. I touch on a subject that people submit every week through my Instagram stories, and then I elaborate on it and what I think about it. Last week we talked about something called analysis paralysis, when people get scared to make a decision because they overanalyze that decision and what it could lead to and what the downside and upside is. Don't be scared to take that leap, and definitely don't be scared to lose money. Because if that's what's holding you back, you're never going to move forward. My recommendation is to do your research and then pursue something if everything calculates to what you expect, or if you see much more upside relative to the downside. Now, I want to talk about the winner's mentality. Somebody reached out and brought that up. A lot of the feedback on that Talk Shop Tuesday was about being scared to make those decisions, hence leading to analysis paralysis. That leads me to this week, which we're talking about the winner's mentality. It breaks down into 4 words. I can do anything. That's the way I think about things all the time. No matter what the challenge is ahead of me, if somebody else has done it, I can do it. If somebody else hasn't done it, I can be the first one to do it. I think there was this crazy statistic I read up on a few months ago. I don't remember it exactly, but it was about running the 4-minute mile, and until somebody actually did it, it wasn't done before, and it was like a big worldwide thing that nobody could run a 4-minute mile. But the second somebody did it, all of a sudden 260 people followed suit and ended up running a 4-minute mile. It became a new trend. But it took that one man to break that boundary for everybody else to hop in and run a 4-minute mile. So this week, talking about the winner's mentality, I want to start with something that relates to everybody. School. I hated high school. I hated middle school. Middle school was the worst. I had a lisp, I had big glasses, big braces, made fun of all the time by the older kids, didn't really have a place to fit in, and I hated it. I couldn't wait to get out of school. I dreaded waking up every morning. Then I got into high school, and I hated the first 2 years. It was mind-numbing. I didn't feel like I was learning. I would go home and study on my own and launch my e-commerce businesses, and that's what got me excited, making actual money and pushing my life forward in something that I could feel and see. When you're wrapped up in school, sometimes you don't feel or see it, especially if you don't like it. But then I got into 10th grade, 11th grade, and I started wrestling and getting good at wrestling, and I really enjoyed that, so that gave me something to look forward to. I got a girlfriend, the braces came off, and I started wearing contacts, so things started changing. But once I got into college, I fell in love with school. Fell in love. This is a recommendation I give everybody, to go to a 4-year school. Not because of just the learning experience. I think a lot of that can be bullshit, if you let it be bullshit. But because it's an experience, it'll let you feel something you've never felt before and see things you've never seen before, and the cultures are different everywhere. And you can experience that through a college, which is why I recommend going to college to everybody I talk to. And things can change from high school into college, but you have to make that happen. You have to think like a winner. You know, when you think, I can do anything, you're thinking, I can like college. I can love college. Why? Because I want to. So I picked the classes I wanted to pick. I studied the way I wanted to study, and when I didn't like it, I switched majors. Easy as that. No pressure from the outside. If anybody told me, oh, you should be in finance. No, what are you doing? Go become a doctor. What are you doing? Study communications. You're great at marketing. Why? I want to do what I want to do. And I'm going to push forward and be successful with or without anybody surrounding me. And that's why I chose to take the path I wanted to take, and it ended up working out in such my favor. I ended up graduating with nearly perfect scores through college. And I mean, if you look back at high school, not even close. I wrote a book when I got into college. I started my real estate company when I got into college. I failed with 2 major businesses my first 2 years of college, and I managed to enjoy the entire process. I look back, I'm so happy about it, and that's what I took for the rest of my life so far. It's only been a few years, but that's the way I think about it, that it catapulted me to do well for the rest of my life. Now, a really good point about my college, I got blessed that I went to Hofstra, and there was a business competition there every year. I enrolled first year, got crushed. Enrolled second year and ended up getting crushed. I enrolled third year and I ended up winning that competition with a startup that failed miserably. But that competition led me to meet my first partner and investor, and we still work together till today. Shout out Mike, he's a good friend of mine, and that also launched me to do much bigger things. I'll give you an example of that. I'm in multifamily real estate right now, stepping into commercial. I was in startup, failed, tried again with a beverage startup, failed, tried in real estate, have been doing really well. Trial and error, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And when I got into something new in real estate, I wanted to become a developer. I found a piece of land, I got really creative, and everybody around me was like, what are you doing? You have no development experience. You're not related to anybody with a construction company. You have no connections in the development world, and everything I got back and forth was, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, it's too much of a risk, what are you thinking? But I said to myself, I can do anything. And lo and behold, it's working out big time in my favor. I closed back in April. I got an offer for $500,000 more than what I closed for in a mere 4 months. It's 20% upside in 4 months. That's huge. And that's just the beginning. This is just the first step. Since then, I'm already working on many more developments, and I've built houses in the interim, and I've gotten my foot in that door, and it's actually working out. It's not as hard as everybody made it seem, because at the end of the day, nothing is when you put your mind to it. And that's what it's all about, thinking that you can do anything, taking the steps necessary to make it happen, and then you'll end up making it happen. You have to think like a winner. Set aside the outside forces, take feedback, understand it, let it in, and then decide whether it's going to get shelved or you're going to listen. And if you listen, adapt, and keep moving forward the way you see fit. That's the end of the winner's mentality.